So the federal government has dropped for 2026 a requirement for the auto industry to sell a minimum proportion of electric vehicles, and future plans on that mandate are under review. We're joined now by a national industry association, Electric Mobility Canada, which argues that Ottawa should maintain this standard. We're joined by Daniel Breton, President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada. I think you're joining us from a vehicle, although I see you're not actually driving.
Exactly. I'm in an electric car on my way to Toronto right now.
Can you tell us who you represent? I know Uber and Tesla are among your members.
Well, we have about 180 members, ranging from car makers, but we also have bus makers and truck makers. But we also have utilities, research centers, universities, cities, unions, mining companies. So we are basically the broad industry organization when it comes to EVs. And we are celebrating next year our 20th anniversary.
So you are frustrated with this decision. You'd like Ottawa to have stuck with its guns on mandating a minimum proportion of electric vehicles sold.
Well, actually, I mean, we understand the situation because of all the craziness coming from south of the border. So we actually recommended to the government to say, you know, let's take a look at this. Let's adjust short term what we need to do regarding targets because it is crazy. And it goes beyond electric cars, as you know. But the truth is that some people in the industry recommend to scrap the regulation altogether and instead align with the US on GHG emission regulation. The problem is that the Trump administration currently is in the process of eliminating regulation on EV sales, GHG emission, and even fuel consumption. So if we were to follow the US, what would happen is that we would end up having no regulation whatsoever, like just like we had 50 years ago in 1975. We find that unacceptable.
Okay, I am a bit confused because and we won't get bogged down on this, but you said you advocated maintain the EV availability standard as is. Yes. So you didn't want any changes? Sorry.
No, we didn't say as is. We said maintain the EV availability standard. We can adjust short term, but we have to keep some regulation so that we can have some target, so that we can have market certainty, because many of our members are investing millions and millions and millions of dollars, for instance, in charging infrastructure. So if we don't have any regulation anymore, we don't know how many cars are going to be sold and driven in Canada. It's becoming a real challenge for anybody to want to invest in the supply chain, or in charging infrastructure, or in electricity production. So it makes things a lot more complicated for the industry to be able to plan ahead.
What do you think of the argument that there simply aren't enough chargers in this country? I mean, we have, 35,000 public chargers, and according to the government, there will be 100,000 required before too long. So we just don't have enough chargers for the vehicles.
Well, first, that's false.
Okay.
I mean, I do 50 to 60,000 kilometers a year with an electric car across North America. I'm actually right now at an Electrify Canada charger. We need more charger, obviously, but to say that today we don't have enough chargers to be able to commute, well, that's not an issue, because people don't need to use chargers most of the time when they commute. And when you travel on highways, there are more and more chargers. We need more chargers, but to my point, charging companies, charging manufacturers are saying that if we let go of the regulation, we won't be able to invest in EV chargers because we won't know how many cars will be there. So a company like Parkland, for instance, who owns 20 to 25% of all the gas stations in the country, are currently investing significantly into installing chargers, in particular in Ontario and Quebec. So the president came to Ottawa with us yesterday to say, well, if we don't have the regulation, we don't have enough market certainty for us to keep moving forward in installing chargers. So you see the challenge there.
It's a circular thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to, so that's why we're saying, let's be pragmatic here. Let's find a pathway that's reasonable for everybody. If we need to lower the target short term because of all the craziness south of the border, we get it. But to do away with the regulation altogether, considering that some people are saying, let's just align with the US while they're scrapping everything. It's complete nonsense. And I would say, I would go even one step more. When I hear people in Canada saying, instead of having our own rules and regulation, we should adopt the rules and regulation of the US, just as if we were the 51st state. I'm sorry, but to us, that doesn't cut it at all.
Yeah, actually, and I'm sorry to bog us down. You should have a word with somebody, the person who wrote yesterday's news release, because it says, we recommend maintain the EV availability standard as is.
Well, I think I should talk to them, because what we said is we want to maintain the EV availability standard, but we are open to adjusting the targets. And we even went as far as to say that if we were to do away with the 100% by 2035, we're okay with that. Let's say that we would go to 2032, 80% EV sales, and beyond that, we could just flatline the targets, because let's face it, some people will never want to drive an electric car. My father never wanted to use a computer or cell phone. So some people are like that, even if the technology is better.
Daniel, I think we're out of time. This is a fascinating area, and I think a lot of people will be questioning, to what extent we should be dancing to America's tune on this thing. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Daniel Breton, President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada.